Hey friends, thanks for watching. Dusty Duke here. Got my coffee here, and we are going to talk today about how to deal with a frustrated customer when you're a house cleaning business. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I have plenty of other videos about house cleaning and running a cleaning business that I'll be adding. So if you want to stay in the loop with those, make sure you subscribe. And as always, these videos are unscripted. So I like to keep things raw and real and just have a conversation with you like we were in the same room having coffee together. So let's talk about how to deal with frustrated customers when you're a cleaning business owner. Um, I know I've had my fair share of angry customers in the past. Um, there can be instances where someone isn't happy with the cleaning that you provided, or they accuse you of something, maybe damaging something, whatever the case may be. And the question is, how do you respond to them in a positive way? Some of us are afraid that, depending on how we respond to those angry customers, they might retaliate and leave us a negative review or threaten to take us to court or whatever the case might be. So in this video, I'm going to share just 5 ideas that I have based on my experience of how to deal with angry customers for whatever the reason is. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share 5 ideas of how to make sure your customers don't get to that point where they're angry. So we're going to talk about responding to a fire, and then we're going to talk about how to keep that fire from happening in the future. So the first idea that I had is, number 1, you want to give your customers the benefit of a doubt. And this is actually really hard for cleaning business owners to do, because when someone's accusing us, our company, our team, of not doing a good job cleaning, of missing an item, of breaking something, it can feel like a direct attack on us and our brand. And as entrepreneurs, we have a hard time having people attack us or feeling attacked. And when they, accuse us of missing an area in the cleaning process, that feels like they're attacking our company, which is our baby. Our company's our child. And there can be this, there's this kind of this temptation to feel defensive and go on the defense. But I would actually encourage you to give your customers benefit of a doubt, because I can't tell you how many times a customer reached out to me and said that a particular employee didn't clean the kitchen right. There was stuff left over, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, in the back of my head, I'm thinking that it was probably just a crumb or two, and they're being nitpicky. But then the client sends me a photo, and there's like a whole countertop in the kitchen that was totally missed. And our employee really didn't clean that particular area. So, more times than not, if you're reaching the right customers to begin with, the majority of the time is your customers are probably going to be coming from a fair point of view, and it's just good to give them the benefit of a doubt. That doesn't mean that you throw your employees under the bus if they're missing something, but just say, what, they're probably right. There probably is something that we missed. There probably is something that we broke, and just go into that situation with humility. Now, the second idea that I had here, and this is really hard for a lot of people to do, but respond to them, communicate back with that client as soon as possible. Here's why. We did kind of this research project where we went to some of the top cleaning companies here in our city where I live. We went and we were able to do a full analysis of every single review that was left on these companies. And there was probably about 500 different reviews. And we did a scan of all these reviews, and we wanted to know, like, what were the top 5 concerns that customers had with these cleaning businesses. So basically, we were scanning their negative reviews. And one of the top concerns that customers had was poor communication. The cleaning company wasn't responding soon enough. They were taking their time. It was taking days for for the cleaning company to get back to these customers, whether it was via email or phone. So we did that because we wanted to learn how we could become better as a cleaning company. So when you're dealing with conflict, unless you just love conflict, you're going to be tempted to just put it off and prioritize other jobs and just kind of kick the can down the road. But you want to respond as soon as possible, whether that's a phone call or an email. I would encourage you to make a phone call to the customer. If they're leaving voicemails, if they're sending emails, even if you don't know the situation yet, and even if you don't think you can solve the problem for them yet, at least give them a call and say, hey, Bill, hey, Mary, got your message. Tell me what's going on. Ask them to explain what's happening. And at the end of that call, just say, man, sorry to hear that. I'm in the middle of a job right now, or I'm finishing up some stuff, but I'm going to make it a priority to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to work out a resolution for you. And I'm going to reach back out to you, in X amount of hours. So just giving them a call right away as soon as possible is going to help bring that frustrated customer from a number 10 down to like a number 7. They're going to feel like, okay, at least my concern is on their radar and they're, in the process of resolving it. So, and that's the goal. You want to get your angry customers from that 10 where they're just irate, and you want to try to get them down the scale. Okay. So respond to them as soon as possible. The other thing is that during the whole process, whether it's on that first phone call, whether you're going back to the house and talking with the customer, you want to listen to their concerns and be empathetic. And empathy, again, as entrepreneurs, that's really hard, because anytime someone's accusing us of making a mistake, as entrepreneurs, it feels like a direct attack on our character, on our business, and our business is our baby. But just take a breath and get yourself into listening mode and practice empathy with your customer. Try to put yourself in their shoes. Try to remember the times in your life where you hired someone to come on and do a job and they missed something, and remind yourself of how you felt. And one of the best things you can do for your customer isn't even trying to come up with a resolution at first. It's just listening to them. So, anytime there's an angry customer, I'll ask them questions like, tell me what happened, what's going on, show me what the problem is. I let them take me to the kitchen, to the bathroom where the area is missed, and just let them talk. Let them do most of the talking. Let them vent. Venting is good for your customer. Making short comments like, man, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, if I were you and I experienced that, I'd feel the same way. So when you allow them to vent, again, what's happening is you're getting them de-escalated. You're taking them down from a 10 to a 7 to a 5, right? You want to de-escalate them as much as possible, because that's going to make it easier for you to come up with a resolution. So, listen to them, be empathetic. And then fourth is to just be humble. And if it is your problem, if it is an issue, offer some kind of resolution. If you don't already have a service guarantee where if something's missed, you're going to come back and, get it clean for them. Make sure you have that for your company. If they're in a quick fix, or not a quick fix, but let me just give you an example. So we were cleaning for somebody who had to leave town, and this was many years ago, but we cleaned their house. They were on their way out of town. I got a call that evening when they were supposed to be, packing up and stuff, and they told us that our team had missed some pretty substantial areas in the kitchen. There was, the floors weren't cleaned. There were crumbs everywhere. It was very obvious that our team had missed it. So I offered to come back personally and do the cleaning for them, and I even offered to add a couple of other items on there. But because they were heading out of town, there wasn't an opportunity for our team to come back and clean it for them. And rather than playing hardball and saying, well, that's kind of your fault because we were willing to come back, but because of your schedule, you didn't want to have us come out and clean the floor. We actually gave them a discount. We basically gave them a refunded discount for them because it was a one-time cleaning, and we said, what if we give you, $25 back, 25% back on, the total price, and then if you want us to come back and redo it, we can. And they agreed to that. They were fine with that. So try to find a resolution. If you damaged someone's floors, that's why you have insurance. Contact the insurance company, make it a point to get that resolved for them. But, and here's the fifth idea, if the problem isn't your problem, if you aren't in the wrong and you really do have a customer who's just being nitpicky, let's say that you agree to do a maintenance cleaning in their kitchen and they contact you and say, well, the window blinds in the kitchen weren't cleaned. How come that's not, I thought you were going to clean the window blinds or do some kind of premium service. What I would do is try to negotiate a courtesy resolution. Okay, let me repeat that. Negotiate a courtesy resolution with the customer if it's not your fault. A courtesy resolution means that you are not going to cave into the customer's accusation that it's your fault, but you are going to try to give them something as a courtesy in return. And ideally, you don't want to make it something huge like a refund, or, if they're saying, well, you need to clean out my fridge, that was supposed to be on the checklist, and you're thinking it's going to take us an hour and a half to clean out this fridge, then you don't want to offer that as a courtesy resolution. You want to offer something back, smaller in return. But here's the point. Here's the deal. This is why it's important, because some of you guys who are hearing me say this, you're getting frustrated at me because you're thinking, Isaac, if it's not my fault, if it wasn't on the checklist, then you shouldn't be trying to negotiate any kind of resolution. And that's true. That's totally fair. But here's what I've learned. Some customers, not all of them, but a lot of customers who are wrong about something, it's because they misunderstood the terms and conditions of the cleaning a lot of the times. And here's how I'd look at it. The goal isn't you're admitting that you're wrong and they're right. The goal is to keep them happy enough to save the reputation of your company, to continue a positive relationship with them. Okay? Because if a customer feels mistreated, misunderstood, if they feel like you tricked them into something or you weren't very clear, it doesn't matter whether you're in the right or not. There's a chance they're going to feel frustrated and they're going to retaliate in some way. And you just, like, the whole point of negotiating a courtesy resolution is you're trying to keep the fire from getting bigger. You're not necessarily letting them have their way. You're just trying to keep the fire from getting bigger, and you're trying to quench it. So let me give you an example of what this would look like. If you have a customer who calls and says, hey, you guys didn't, clean the inside of the refrigerator on this last visit, and I'm frustrated, and you know that it wasn't part of the maintenance cleaning, then here's what I would do. First of all, let them know in the most gracious, compassionate way that you can. So you'd say, "Hey, Bill, thanks for calling me and letting me know about this. I'm looking at the checklist that we have that we charged you for, and I didn't add that service to the checklist. Was that something that you'd wanted us to add on there?" And then they're gonna say something like, "Yeah, well, I thought that was part of it, and I was hoping to get the fridge on there, blah blah blah." Let them talk, right? Let them do some venting. And again, you're going to be empathetic, and you're going to say, "Man, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that was the expectation, and I miscommunicated and misunderstood where you were coming from, so I apologize for that." So the good news is, normally a refrigerator cleaning costs $80 or $100 typically. And the good news is that we didn't charge you for that. Okay. So you didn't pay extra. You only paid for the maintenance cleaning. But is that something that you would like to add on to your next cleaning, or what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel? Okay. So when you word it that way, you're basically telling them, here's the the secret. You're basically telling them, you didn't pay us to clean the refrigerator, that's why we didn't do it. Okay, that's the direct truth. But you're explaining it in an empathetic way by saying, so sorry for not adding on the list. That's my fault. I misunderstood. The good news is that it's typically, $80 to clean the fridge, and we only charged you for the maintenance cleaning part of the kitchen, so you don't have to worry about that part. Is that something you would like to add in the future, or how do you feel about it? And try to say, how do you feel about that? Because again, you're trying to get them to vent. You're trying to get all those negative assumptions, all those negative thoughts out of them to clear the air, because you're trying to de-escalate them, okay? Now, most of the time, they're going to respond with, okay, I just misunderstood something. Yeah, let's add the fridge next time. Or they're going to say, no, it's fine. I didn't realize it was going to cost extra. Okay, most of the time, 90% of the time, those kind of problem customers are going to respond that way. But if for some reason you're dealing with someone with a personality where they're just, playing hardball with you, and you can tell they're trying to get something out of it, then that's where you're going to get into the negotiation kind of part of the conversation. That's where you're going to go from customer service resolution, and that's when you're going to go into hardball negotiation with them. And I don't know if I got the book right here. Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to be needing to do a lot of negotiation, whether it's with a potential customer, partner. You're going to need to have some negotiating skills. If you don't know where to start, read this book, Negotiation Made Simple. You can't really see the title there, by John Laurie. It's a good starting point. Some other books I recommend are, I think it's called Possible by William Ury, and it goes into the psychology behind human behavior, why they react negatively, why there's conflict, and books like these are going to talk about how to diffuse that tension and how to create win-win situations. So anyways, if you don't feel like you're very good at negotiating with irate customers who are obviously trying to get some kind of deal from you, start with one of those books. But let's just say that you have a customer who's like, no, that's not good enough, this is what I wanted and I want you to fix it. Then here's, as a last resort, what you're going to do is you're not going to admit that you were wrong. That's not the point. But you're also not going to give them what they're asking for. You're not just going to give them a free refrigerator cleaning for nothing, right? So what I would do in that situation is I would reassure them again and say, first, I understand where you're coming from, okay? And if I were in your shoes, I'd be frustrated too. Again, you didn't pay for the refrigerator. We're not charging for that. Here's what I can do for you, okay? If you want to schedule another refrigerator cleaning, I will take 20% off for you, or 25% off, or whatever the promotion is that you want to offer them in exchange, okay? And leave it at that. Negotiate some kind of resolution with them. And at that point, now here's a deal. Never in all my years of cleaning has a customer said, no, I don't want that. I want you to come and clean my refrigerator for free. Never dealt with anyone in my life with them. Okay. If you are dealing with someone who's just like, they are off their rocker and they have some mental issues, then at that point, as compassionately as you can, tell them, sorry, but we just can't offer that for you. Here's the deal that we can give you. I'll give you some time to think about it. You can email me back later this week and let me know what your thoughts are. And, there might even need to be a conversation where you say, if this is the expectation, then I don't think we can with a good conscience, continue to offer this service for you if you feel like you're not getting the most value for your money. We wouldn't want that on you, so it's probably best for us to part ways. And there's probably a video where I can create for you guys kind of talking about what that would look like. But that's never happened. That's never happened. Okay? Most of the time, the majority of the time when I've dealt with a problem customer, we're able to get them to this stage where they either realize they made a mistake and they're like, "Oh, it's not our fault," or they get to the point where they accept some kind of negotiated courtesy resolution. So those are just my ideas. Those are some of the things that we've done to resolve issues with customers. Now I'm going to give you quick 5 ideas that I have to help keep you from ever getting to that point where you have a really frustrated customer. Um, because when you've dealt with a frustrated customer in that particular circumstance, you never want to deal with that again. And there are ways that you can decrease the probability of that ever taking place. So the first idea that I had here is communicate expectations to customers ahead of time and get a signature. Now, if you're doing walkthroughs with your customers before you ever do the cleaning for them, then you probably told yourself, oh yeah, well we did communicate the expectations. Like we did a walkthrough, I wrote everything down, they told me what they wanted. How more clear could I be? What you need to do is anytime you do a walkthrough and the customer is telling you what rooms they want, types of cleanings, you need to first of all negotiate the pricing with them at that walkthrough. When they say yes to it, tell them that you're going to go back to the office. You're going to email them a proposal that's going to lock in that flat pricing for them, or however you do your pricing, and that you need a signature before you come out and do a cleaning. Okay, that proposal is going to have all the expectations, all the terms and conditions. It's going to have a lot of fine print on it. Okay, you can make it look however you want to, but basically it's going to communicate the rooms you're going to be cleaning, the number of times in the week you're going to be coming and cleaning or throughout the month, the type of cleaning, the products you use, every single term and condition is going to be on that sheet, and you're going to require your customer to sign that proposal and send a copy back to you. Because at that point, if you do have a potential problem customer who like their whole goal is they're going to try to take advantage of your company, or they're known for that, the moment you send them a proposal asking for a signature, they're going to know right off the bat, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to take advantage of this customer or this cleaning company, because now I'm locked in to this agreement and I know that it's going to come back and try to bite me. Okay. So try to get a signed proposal from the customer, communicate the expectations ahead of time. Number 2, over communicate as much as you can. What that looks like is, the day before the cleaning, if you're sending like automatic reminders to the customer, in that text or in that email, say, hey Mary, we're going to be at your house tomorrow. Here's the checklist per our proposal that we'll be doing. Let us know if you have any questions. And then send the customer to a link, if you can, to where they're able to download their checklist ahead of time, or download their proposal ahead of time, to where they're constantly being reminded of the services that you're offering. Okay, over communicate it as much as you can. You can leave a paper checklist behind, showing them, have your cleaners check off all the areas that they did. You can send them a digital copy after the cleaning, but over communicate it. You can't over communicate too much the checklist and the expectations that you're doing. So make sure you're over communicating the expectations. Make a note of any important damage in the house that you think might come and bite you in the butt later on. And typically you want to do this during the walkthrough. Um, for example, if you're doing a walkthrough and you notice in the living room on the carpet there's a strand of carpet that's coming out, and you know that if you vacuum the carpet, there's a potential situation where that strand is going to get caught in the vacuum and it's going to tear the rest of the carpet apart, and there's a chance they may come back and say, "Oh, you damaged my carpet." Okay? So, anytime there's red flags like that, um make a note of it, bring it up to the customer, okay? And just let them know that, hey, we don't want our vacuum to rip this up even more. We recommend, getting this fixed, or if you can't get it fixed, we'll just go around this area when we're vacuuming. And then what you're going to do is you're also going to put that note in your proposal for the customer. Make a note of all of the potential issues where there could be damage, like damage that's already there, that the customer, if you're cleaning, they may come back and say, "Oh, you broke this, you damaged this, you need to fix it." Okay, it's just a safeguard to have on your end, because you don't want someone to accuse you of ruining their hardwood floors, or you know making a make damaging their carpet and trying to get you to pay for it if it's not your fault. So make note of those areas, put them in the proposal for the customer. The fourth thing is make sure you train your employees well. And I know that goes without saying. I know every house cleaning business owner who's watching this video, none of them are thinking, I want to have a crappy team of house cleaners to do the jobs for me. Obviously, we want to train our employees well to go do those cleanings. The reason I say that is because every time a customer called and said, "Hey, we got a problem, this was missed," is because I had employees who weren't doing the job right. And yeah, we trained them. We spent 2 weeks of training with them, but the process I had wasn't good. The training process I had sucked. I thought I could spend 2 weeks with my employees, show them how to do everything, give them a checklist, give them the supplies, and they'd do just fine. Didn't work. Okay. So, just, simple things like making sure you don't send your employees off to a house to clean by themselves until you've spent at least a few months shadowing them and they've had a chance to do cleaning with you. Even if you're hiring someone who has previous house cleaning experience. I can't tell you how many employees we hired who said, "Yeah, I've been cleaning for 5 years, worked for these companies." And you hire them, you don't think, "Oh, I don't need to shadow them. They've got cleaning experience." And you find out that their standard of cleaning is way different than yours. So just do some shadowing with them, have a good training process in place before you start sending them out to your customers' houses, because if they're really trained and really good, they're going to do everything right. They're going to be careful, okay, as they're dusting the living room. They're going to be careful how they handle important vases and TV console and all that stuff, and that's going to decrease the number of customer problems that you have over time. And then the fifth idea that I had here is always include a checklist process, for your customers, but for your employees as well, whether that's a digital checklist or a physical copy. And that's going to hold your employees, your team, accountable for what needs to be done, because especially, guys, if it's a big house, we've cleaned huge houses, 3,000, 4,000 square foot houses. When you've got multiple family rooms, 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 3 levels, that's a lot to get done. And if you're expecting your employees to clean that house and then drive to another house and spend the rest of the afternoon cleaning that, they're going to be tired. They're not going to be as focused. They're not going to, employees at the end of the day are not going to be at their best versions of themselves as they were in the morning. So having a checklist is just a way for your employees to remember, help keep them accountable what needs to be done. And if it's a big house, break it down by, third floor, second floor, basement, however you want to do it. if you have to if you have to break the areas and rooms down into tasks, so for example, the bedroom, they need to dust the lamps, dust the furniture, make the beds. If you need to break each room down by task and require them to check those tasks off, you might consider doing that if it's a new employee. Hopefully, after a long period of time of them working with your company, they won't have to check off every single task, but it might be a good idea in the very beginning. But have some kind of checklist, because anytime you have a checklist system and you're going through every detail and making sure it's done, it's going to remove the probability that there's going to be a mistake. There's less chance that your customers are going to get angry and call you and let you know that there's a problem. So those are just a few ideas that I had, and hopefully you didn't feel like I was rambling too much on this video. But I definitely understand what it's like to have a frustrated customer contact you, and none of us go into the cleaning business because we just love conflict. Actually, a lot of people go in the cleaning business because they want to avoid people. And, being alone in someone's house, cleaning, listening to your music or a podcast or whatever is very appealing for those of us who don't like to be around people all the time. So I get it. I understand when you have an angry customer, you want to try to avoid it. You're not very excited about it. But, just remember, when you're empathetic, when you're quick to respond, when you're good at negotiating resolutions, it's going to save face for your company way more effectively. And if you're communicating the expectations ahead of time, if you're holding your customer accountable and your team accountable to the process, it's going to reduce the probability of any issues for your customers to get angry about. So I hope that video was helpful for you. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that. And if you have any questions about the process of handling angry customers or expectations, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I'll make sure to create some more videos in answer to your questions. So with that, thanks again for watching Dusty Duke, and hope you have a great week.